What alternatives are there for spreadsheets? You may not have Office on your computer. You may be using a different operating system. Now, Office is available for Macs, but there's an operating system called Linux that is pretty popular. More of the nerds use it, but this application is also available on that. I love applications that run on as many platforms as I've ever want to use. And of course, some of the spreadsheets will also work on your mobile device. And that's a great thing about Google Sheets. You can view them very easily on your mobile device as well. Before we go to Google Sheets, let's take a look at an alternative to Excel. A program called OpenOffice or LibreOffice. LibreOffice gives you a document writer, a calc spreadsheet, a presentation software, some drawing software, doing math formulas, and even a database. Let's just take a look at, you don't have to do this, but we're going to take a look at LibreOffice. It looks a lot like Office 2007. I don't know if they stole their code or Office 2007 was easier to copy than Office 2000 beyond that, but your menus are hiding under your tabs. This was the old school Office. You didn't have a ribbon. You just had menus that you had to memorize, and you could rearrange your menus to drive yourself crazy. But all your menus are hiding under pop-up tabs. You hover over them, and you see the menu pop up. You can do very similar things, such as type in some text and give it a text style over here somewhere. There's a style, and you could put in numbers 1, 2, 3. You could continue the sequence, click fill handle. So worked very much like Excel. Notice when I fill handle to the right, notice it did continue. Let's see if it does that if I do a number 1. If I fill handle number 1 over, oh, that Office, I don't think Excel does it. OpenOffice or LibreOffice will assume that you want to continue the series when I copy a number. I can format them using my font color or fill. And I can do formulas like equal sum. Let's see, do we have a sigma? There is a sigma somewhere. Where's the sigma hiding? Do my summation. I thought it was hiding over here. Maybe it's hiding somewhere else. I'm here. There is a formula, or is this the guy? No, that's characters. Oh, I guess I have to do the summation, sum, and then left parenthesis. And let's see if it'll let me point and click. Yes, it lets me point and click and give me the sum of those cells. If I forget the right parenthesis, it puts it in there for me. There's the summation. That's right. It's hiding here. Here's your summation, sigma friend. Lots of formulas available. So LibreOffice, not radically different from Microsoft Office, but different enough where it would take some getting used to. I can have lots of the same capabilities. I just have to learn the new ribbon and navigate through the new ribbon. So powerful program, and it's free. So if you're working for someone that they love to use Excel, but they just can't afford it because I forget how much it costs these days, and they want something free, LibreOffice is available, and it will run on a Mac or any others. I don't know if there is a mobile version. And of course, it runs locally on your computer, so it's not shareable like the cloud is. But it's a good alternative if you need a powerful spreadsheet capability without paying any money for it. And you don't have to turn anything in with that. Just know that there are alternatives. On a Mac, there are alternatives as well. If I look for alternative software, anyone use a spreadsheet on a Mac? I think it's called Sheets, or is it Numbers? I think it's called Numbers on a Mac. And it's a very, very nice spreadsheet. Most software on Macs are more user-friendly, but they're also not available often on the PC version, where you can have Office on both Mac and PC. So now let's take a look at using the cloud for spreadsheets. I have Mr. Smart logged in here, and let's take him to our class. What you're going to be finally submitting is a link to your shared cloud document. But first, let's go find that. I'm going to go to this course, section 2, and go to the assignments here. Log into Schoology, go into the assignments section, and underneath the assignments, you have what I'm hoping to be kind of an easy project as we finish up spreadsheets, getting ready to get into databases. We're going to have one more practice before getting to databases, but let's take a look at Cloud Spreadsheet Data Analysis. I'm going to click on that project, and up pops the instructions for it. What we're going to do with this spreadsheet is just do a few things similar to how we graphed our river data, but I've given you the data in a cloud spreadsheet. I'm going to click on this link, it'll take you right there. I'm going to pretend I'm not logged in right now just to show you how this will work. So I'm going to log out, and now I'm going to go to here and I'm going to click on that link. It'll show me the spreadsheet in Google Docs, but if I'm not logged in, the only thing I can do is download it to Excel. But I don't want to download it to Excel. I want to edit it as a Google spreadsheet. In order for me to be able to use Google Spreadsheets, I need to be logged in. So I'm going to log into my Emmaus account. This will work whether or not you're logged into the Emmaus account or another Google account. It will have to be a Google account because it's in a Google spreadsheet. So using your Emmaus email, which is a Gmail account, I'm going to log in here if I can remember his password. Oh. Now that this guy's logged in, I go back to this spreadsheet. It still won't let me download, but that's because I need to refresh it. And now that I've refreshed the page, now the make a copy is available because I want to make a copy and work on it in my Google Drive. So now I click make a copy, and I'll call it JSmart CS101 Missouri River Analysis. Give it a nice meaningful name and make that a habit of giving your files meaningful names. Sometimes timestamp them if you know you're going to do a lot of these, you want to access them. Yes?
I can't make a copy even when I refresh it.
Have you logged in? You have to be logged in. And now once I'm logged in, it will let me make a copy because now it's accessing my own personal spreadsheet. Now it's made it my own personal spreadsheet, which is a copy of that one. Do you get it, Josh? You log in. So this is the way Google lets you access Google Spreadsheets. If you're logged in, you are now editing it in your own personal cloud drive, which is very convenient. You can do so much sharing there, and I can go ahead and close the one that was shared with everyone else. And I can see who else is editing it, but I don't need to see it anymore, so I can just close that. And as I see people closing it, see the number of people viewing it goes down. So I'm going to close that, and the number should go down again. Now I have my own personal copy of some river data similar to last time. And just like we had last time, we have a column of data that we can't graph because it's all one big column. Now remember what we did in Excel. We were able to split that data into columns. That's the first thing we need to do is split the column into column A into separate columns. Now, just for fun, can you find the separate into columns feature? I might look for it here first on the ribbon, or even right click on the column. Right click is often where I go first, and let's see, is there a split the column? I don't see it there. If I go to the bottom, it's a good another place to look. Well, I don't see anything to do with splitting the data into multiple columns. You'd think there'd be there. This looks possible. Let's see what happens here. If I do data extraction, I'm not sure what it's doing there. No, I don't think I want data extraction, so I'm going to close that. So it's not under the right click. That's the first place I look. Where else would you look? Under File? Probably not. Edit? Maybe. No, edit, copy, replace. View, that usually has to do nothing to change the data. Insert, no, I'm not inserting anything. How about format? Convert to table. No, I don't think I want to convert to table. Let's try data. Split text to columns. There it is underneath data. Now it's not as wordy as the Excel version. I click split text to columns and doesn't ask me anything. It just does it for me. And because there's a lot of rows there, it took it a while to figure out. I have 209,057 cells in, I think that's the total cells in that column. It's now split it, and surprisingly fast with that many lines of data. Now I see the data that I want to graph, the height of the river. Looks like for me it's over here in column E. And just for fun, let's give that a more meaningful title. That is my river height. I'll call it river height. Just as a nice heading to that row, to that column.
Mr. Mann,
Yeah.
what do you do if like all of yours is in column A and you don't have like A, B, C, D, E?
You want to split that into columns. So click on the A,
Oh,
and
the A
then
first.
data, split text to columns.
I see.
All right?
Terribly sorry.
No problem. Okay, so now we're ready to graph the data. Now, what data do we want to graph? Column E, right? That's the meaningful data. We might want to bring the date in there as my horizontal axis, but let's just choose column E and see what happens by going to Insert, Chart, and click Insert Chart. See what happens. Click on that, and what do I get? I get a chart, and this little chart editor pops up. If it's not there, we can edit. Let's see, if it's not there, I can right-click Edit Chart. If that chart editor isn't there, you can right-click Edit Chart Area or Chart Styles. This pops up, and I can customize everything on my chart. This is my chart editor. Now there's two columns in the chart editor. That might be confusing. I'm going to zoom out a little bit. There's my chart. First thing I want to do is adjust my chart style. I can adjust its theme, or in the setup, I can choose what kind of chart it is. So let's go to the setup first, and then we'll customize other things. Underneath setup, in the chart editor, change it from a column chart to a line chart. Then I don't have all the colors underneath it. And if I decided I want to graph other data along with it, I could add it. I'm going to adjust the width of my chart. I'm going to zoom out just a bit here. There we go. So that lets me decide my style of chart. Notice it shows the data range. It's all column E is where my data came from. My x-axis, though, I would like the x-axis to be the time or the date, which is over there in what column? That looks like that's in column C, right? Let's check this column. Let me grab and move that. It moves slow because I have so much data in there. But I see column C is where it has the, come on, please move for me. It's just moving slow. There we go. The date time, column C. Let's see if I could add the time to my horizontal axis. Let's see what I have to do. Let's see. Let's try. Click here, add x-axis. Now, this is kind of confusing until you've done it a few times. I have to click over on this little box here to select the data range for an x-axis. I don't want to select this one. I already have that data that I'm using for my what's being graphed in the y-axis. So click on the box and then click over on the column heading for the date time. Click on that and it shows me the sheet number or the sheet name, exclamation point, C:C. That's the way for it to say everything you see in column C use that as my x-axis. And let's see what happens when I click OK. It thinks a while because there's a lot of data there. And now it puts along the bottom a nice horizontal labels of the approximate date. If I choose the aggregate button, watch what happens there. Thinks a while, and then it pokes the date down more densely. As I hover over things, I can see what date that was. So I can see that my date is going from 2021 to 2022, the Missouri River. Some strange spike here in October. Don't know what that was, or if that's an anomaly in the data. You may always find that there actually may be data anomalies, and this is where graphing data might help you catch that. Like, hey, wait a minute, what's this spike about? I don't think that happened there, and I might have some typo in the data. Remember how I did that? I just came to x-axis, click that, and then click the little box to let me go choose what to use for my x-axis. And if you don't want to see it aggregate, if that's too noisy, you can uncheck aggregate. It's a little cleaner looking graph. So it's looking pretty good so far. Let's figure out, can we put a title on this graph? I want to see a title. Well, that's a little harder to find. In Excel, remember, we just had a little box that had our title. We could go click in it. Let's see if over here somewhere here, does it give me a place to edit my title? Here it gives me, in the setup, I can edit that stuff. How about over on Customize? I can choose Start Chart Style. Let's close that. Oh look, Chart and Axes Titles. This little guy here lets me open and close that part of the menu. Let's open or expand the Chart and Axis Titles. Here I can choose what my chart title is going to be. Let's put in there Missouri River. Did I spell it right? Missouri River data. And I hit enter. Oh, look at that. It already shows the title as I'm typing it. And I can choose the format of the title. I can make it bold. I can make it italic. I can change the color of my title to some fun color. I can choose the size of my fonts for my title. Now, how would I change anything else? This is where it's quite a bit different than Excel. If I want to add a X or Y axis, I have to click here, and I see that there's other things I can change for my titles, for my subtitle. Let's change the subtitle to 2021 October, or just we'll do 2021 to 2022. 2021-22. That will now become my subtitle that will show up there. And I can choose the color of that text as well. I'm going to leave it auto. I'll leave the defaults for the formatting of that text. Now I can choose my horizontal axis title. So one by one I can choose what each piece is in my customizing my chart. Horizontal axis, let's call that just the date. That's a decent axis. And then the vertical axis would be height. And I believe it's in feet. I can put parentheses feet. Now I don't remember where I got the data from, so it'd be probably good to put the town that the gauge was in, but I don't remember, so I won't put that in there. So at customizing all your titles, all heading onto this little pull down. Now once you have it there, I noticed too, once I have it there, I can actually come over here and edit it by double clicking on it. I can actually edit the title once it's there. I can edit what goes in there. If I click on it, I can edit it. So this opens up depending on what I click on. So once I have created the subtitle or the axis labels, I can always edit it more visually. But that's hiding under the Customize Chart and Axes Titles. Now where the data is coming from is that series of data. This is where if I wanted to view more, I could add other series of other charts. We're not going to do that here. We've done enough viewing multiple series of data on the same chart. So I only have the one series, but I think it would be nice to move this chart to another spreadsheet. So I'm going to close my chart editor. I think I'm done viewing this. I can close my editor. But I want to move this chart to another worksheet. Remember how we did it in Excel? I right-clicked and then move chart. Let's see if that's available to us. Let's try right-click. Well, I can change my chart and access and grid lines and ticks. I don't see a move my chart menu here. Let's try this little three button thing. Sometimes this gives us more. Delete, edit, publish, copy, move to own sheet. There it is, the move. It's the 3 dots, a little menu. Whenever you see that 3 dots up there that says, hey, maybe there's something here useful, kind of like the right click. There we go. I can move to its own sheet. Click that, and it doesn't even give me a chance to give the sheet a name, but I can click over here and change its name to River Height Chart. How about River Height Chart? Now, if you couldn't find that, you could always have done a cut and paste, but I like the menu. I'm assuming it does it nicely efficient for me, fills the chart with that, and now it's on its own sheet. Now I have a different menu that shows up. I can download just a chart, publish just a chart, and edit it and copy it. So the chart page looks a lot different than the worksheet page. I could have copied it and pasted it above another new worksheet, but I like the idea that on my chart here, the 3 little dots lets me copy it to its own sheet. But notice how the menu has changed. I don't have the 3 dots anymore. I have this little menu as things I can do to my chart. So I've got a title, subtitle, river height, and the date with labels. I think the chart's looking pretty good. Let's see if I wanted to choose. Oh, I could publish just a chart. Let's see what the published chart does. I can actually publish a link just to the chart by itself and choose what's published. But we'll do that later when we have our complete worksheet finished. So what have we done so far? Let's go back and review. We converted one column of data to multiple columns so we could graph this column. We created a chart, gave it titles and dates for the horizontal axis, gave labels, subtitle, and labels for each axis. Now let's practice a little bit more just using Google Spreadsheets. Let's rename this to be River Data. And let's name our river. It's the Missouri River. Missouri River Data. That's the raw data. And on the right side of our chart now, let's practice doing some basic analysis of our data. So if you ever want to adjust your column, you can just grab just like in Excel, I can grab the edge of a column and adjust the column size. Let's see if a double click auto fits. I'm going to make this too small for a second, and I'm going to double click and see if it auto fits that. It's a lot of data there, so I have to wait. Yeah, it did auto fit. I'll bet you if I download this, I think some of the actions would be a lot quicker, because typically your downloaded application will go faster. If I ever do something with lots of lines, like 2,000 lines of data, when it's online, it's generally slower. That's one disadvantage of being in the cloud, is if you're handling a large amount of data, you might think, well, it might happen a lot faster if I had the local PC dealing with that data. Because when you're in the cloud, any change there, remember, it's sending all that data, refreshing your page all the way from the server, wherever that happens to be. Now let's do some analysis here. Let's call this, we'll make it a little analysis table, just for practice doing some functions in Google Spreadsheets. Let's find the average height, the maximum height, max height, and the min height, and maybe other statistics. So if I want to find the average height of the river for that time period, what would I do? Let's see. Are there functions available to me? Yep. Oh, yeah. Oh, this is one thing I do not like about Google Docs. When I zoom, it zooms the ribbon on me too. And I'd rather just zoom the cells. but it will zoom everything. Maybe there's a way to get it just to zoom the cells. I haven't figured out that part yet. Now let's do some analysis. How would I find the average? Well, now that I've zoomed a little bit, my summation or my sigma guy is hiding, but here I can click the 3 buttons, see additional items in the menu, and I see this sigma function. Let's click on that and see what it gives me. Oh, look at that. It gives me known functions available, and of course I could browse through all the functions available in various categories, but I see the average guy sitting right there. Let's click him and see what it puts in for me. Oh, look at that. It gives me the equal average and the empty parentheses with a little explanation of what it's expecting in between those parentheses. The little down arrow here gives me a more full explanation of what goes in to those parameters. So very much like Excel, I know I want the average of everything in column E. Well, let's just go point and click and see what happens if I click the heading in column E. It puts in E:E. What that means is it's going to look for any numbers it sees in column E, and if it doesn't find a number, it'll count that as a 0. I hit enter, and it just gives me the average of every number it found in column E. When I do that again, I click here. I can type equal average, or the easy way, I'll click on summation average, and then just click on column E, and it fills that in for me. Notice when I click a function, because I had the help open, before, let's try that again. When I had the help open, it wants to show my whole help page. I can shrink down the help page, and it reminds me of what it's expecting me to type there. And I don't know, it's hiding. It's kind of annoying. It's hiding right where I want to be typing. I guess I can hide that. And now click either type E:E or click on that column heading. Now you could, if you want, click and drag through here all the way down to how many lines there are. Let's see, E all the way down to line 38,843 in the height. And it would fill that in, but that's a lot harder to type than just E:E. Just say everything you find in that column. And you know, this actually works in Excel as well. If you just give the column name, it'll treat it as just a column full of numbers. Let's do the same thing with max height of the river. Click summation max, which will type equal max for me, and then click on again the same heading, column E. Yes, that gives me the max of everything in column E. Then the minimum height, let's see. I'm going to type it by hand this time. Equal min, and not watch as I start typing. It starts giving me the autocomplete of anything that starts with MI and finally MIN. And notice it gives me a quick explanation, left parenthesis. I did turn off the help. If I want to see the help, because I had turned it off, I can click the question mark. It shows me what it's expecting, and I can just click on column E again. And I don't even have to give it the last parenthesis. It puts it in there for me. It doesn't complain. So we see the height, and that particular time span, was only 3.47. That makes me wonder: is this really feet, or is the gauge near the edge of the river, and once it went to 0, the river would just be, maintainable or navigatable. Let's calculate something a little more sophisticated, because we're college students and we should be able to do more than just max and min. Let's see, what else do we have for statistics? Well, let's see what's available to us. What do we have available? We have sum, average, count, max, min. How about some statistical? What do we have? Look at all the functions available. I think they have a larger categories than Excel. Let's look at statistical functions available. Once I hover over that, I can come over here and I see lots of interesting statistical functions. Let's go down to one that I recognize. Lots of interesting ones. Let's try the standard deviation. That's a pretty common statistics. If you're into statistics, max and min and average, standard deviation gives you a little idea of how much variation is there in the data. Like if it's stuck on the on the average most of the time, that would mean it's a low standard deviation. If it goes to max height and min height a lot of times during the year, then my standard deviation will be a larger number. Let's calculate the standard deviation by putting std_dev and then clicking again column E. And let's see, how much does it vary over the year? Well, it doesn't vary by a whole lot, about almost 2 3/4 feet over the year. And if you're into statistics, you know, you're more familiar with all the implications there of the variation. Let's go and label that standard deviation. Look at it is wrapping my text for me. There is a wrap text in a column. I can go to Format. I can adjust the wrapping of any column. I can have it overflow or Format to wrap. It looks like that was automatically wrapping for me. So calculating statistics, let's do a little bit more work just for practice with Google Spreadsheets. We know how to do some analysis using built-in functions. Let's practice the marriage saving formula. We got to hit that a lot because this is very important to have on your transcript. Do you know the marriage saving formula? We have our beginning balance. Of $10,000. We have our expenses, our total expenses of $3,000. And we have our total income of $4,000. Now usually we list income first before expenses. So let me rearrange those by selecting those and see how hard it is to move some cells. Let's see, I select them. Oh, I get the hand to appear when I'm on the edge of it. Let's click and grab the hand. Yeah, that lets me move them down. And now I can select through all of those and hover over the edge and move them up. I do have my fill handle. We'll practice some fill handle stuff as well. Now comes the marriage saving formula. Let's put ending balance. What is the formula for ending balance? Also known as the marriage saving formula. Can you tell me what the formula will be? Before you're allowed to graduate, you must be able to.
Balance plus income plus expenses.
Yes. Yes, it's not complicated. But yes, some people get it wrong on the final, so I'm giving you lots of chance to practice it. Your ending balance is equal to point and click, beginning balance, plus the income, total income for that month, minus the total expenses. Now it does get a little harder on the final because there are multiple items that total up to an income, and there's multiple items that total up to expenses. And people carelessly select through all expenses, including the total expenses, and get a strange number. You only want to keep track of your total income and your total expenses. Add your income to your balance, subtract it from your expenses from that, and you have your ending balance. We have been frugal and not spent more than we earned, which is a very good thing. Let's shade this as our little income table. Let's select, and here I have my shading icon right there. Let's choose a shading of one of your favorite colors. And let's, just for fun, let's label ending, let's shade ending balance, those two cells. Let's shade those with the green if indeed our beginning balance, our ending balance is greater than our beginning balance, because that's a good thing. This is where we're going to do some conditional formatting. These two cells, I want to be in green when this cell is greater than that cell. When the beginning balance or ending balance is greater than beginning balance. So let's see how this works in Google Spreadsheets. There's my two cells I want to conditionally format. Now I can go up to Format, conditional formatting. And up pops this little dialog. I'm going to apply some format to those two cells, G13 to H13. Now, I want to see if a cell is greater than another cell. So instead of is not empty, let's make it is greater than. There's the greater than. And the value I want to be greater than is the value in cell H10. Let's see if this conditional formatting works, or if I can only apply it to cell H13, because he doesn't know how to compare this range of cells to a single cell. Let's see what happens. Click done. And notice I am not getting it to turn green. So it looks like that rule did not work. See, I don't see that because it's comparing everything in these cells to one cell. I need to edit that rule and fix it. So let's go back and format, conditional formatting. I'm in the cell that I was applying to. To edit that, I have to click on my conditional format rules and change this from H13 to just say compare H13 to H. Yeah, we're going to apply it to H13. We're going to see if H13 is greater than H10, and then the rule should be applied. Let's see if now it will work. So I changed a range to apply it to just be one cell. Comparing that cell to H10, if it's greater than, I should get a shade of green. Let's make sure that that is correct. Shade of green. Make sure I have a green color selected. And click done. And it's still not working. Why is that not working? I messed up my rule. Let's see here. I better do this again. The value is greater than H10. It's supposed to have turned green. Now, let me start over. Maybe I messed up. I'm going to delete this rule and start over. Let's try this again. That cell is supposed to be greater than H10. Maybe because I chose 2 at the beginning, it messed up. Conditional formatting. This time, cell greater than H10. Choose a formatting of a green fill. Now let's click done and see if it works. Why is it not working? So you had H13 applied to H13. You had colon H. It's the same cell like this. And it worked for you. I can't explain why mine's not working. Maybe did I have it? What could be wrong? Let's try this. No. I have a number in there. Number in there. That's a calculation. It calculates it correctly. It is greater than that. Yep. Then you missed your marriage saving formula. And control tilde works here. I can actually see my formulas hitting the control tick mark. That should be your formula. Now, if you're not in the exact same cells, you may have different numbers here. If you're not in the exact G9 to H13. Yes, question.
So, rather than a question, I think when you're putting the value, instead of putting just H10, you have to put equal H10.
Ah, that's what did it. Silly me. I didn't point and click. I typed it in. Let's see that. Extra credit for that guy. Let's see if I did that. Format, conditional formatting. Edit the rule by just clicking on it. Is that all that was? Let's try equal H10. Remember I typed it rather than point and click. And let's see if it worked. Look at that. Silly me, I didn't type the equal. Let's see if it would have worked if I've done the point and click. Point, conditional formatting, edit the rule. Suppose I didn't have anything there and I went and clicked on H10. No, I have to type something. I was hoping point and click. Yep, equal H10. Several little things that I did last time and then forgot that little equal mattered. And now that does show. If I spend too much, let's put 5,000 there. Let's see if the conditional formatting changes. Yes, the shading does go to no shading. So, yep.
If you want it to highlight both,
Yep.
then you just highlight those, but you only type it where you're deleting.
Let's try that. Let's see here. So I'm edit that.
So you have to highlight both.
What if I just put G13 : H13 here? Let's see if that will now highlight both. It sort of does. Look at that. It gave me a... Didn't quite work. I was hoping that, see, that was my problem. Comparing, doesn't do the comparison right. This one didn't get a green shade on it. So we got more to do though, but that is your conditional formatting. And Control Sigma. Now let's make it green by giving us, wait a minute, did I mess up? I must have messed up my formatting. Greater than equal I13 equal H10. There we go. And done. Now let's do a little bit more here. Let's see what else we can do here. Oh, let's just highlight these in bold. And since we're almost done, let's do just one more thing. Let's go with the sharing feature. Something that you can't, well, you can do if you're working in office.com and you can share your Excel spreadsheet there. In any cloud file, there's a sharing option, and it's in two places. I can share here by copying a link. It's right now default private to me. If I click on the share button, I have the choice of how to share it. I'm going to make sure I give anyone with the link can view it, and allow them to not only view but to comment. Now I can copy that link and send it in an email to my friend or text it to my friend. They can open it in Google Drive from their mobile device or their Gmail. And I can also submit this as homework. So I've copied the link after sharing it. So I click share, change it to anyone with the link, copied the link, and now over in Schoology, I'm ready to submit the assignment by clicking submit. Go to the create tab and click the chain link and put the URL both there and in the text to display. Or if you want to have the text to display, just say here's the link. I put the text to display to be the same as the link, and now I get a workable link there in my submission. That will be a clickable link. I can also share it as a web page. So I shared it as a Google Doc. Watch how I can share it as a web page. I can go back to here, and in the file share, there's a publish to web option underneath the file. There's an extra option under share under file. This is the same as that button. This is a different way of sharing it. I can publish it as a web page. And I can click publish. It asks me, are you sure? And if it's published as a web page, it's automatically public to everyone on the internet. I can go back here now and paste my web page link, clicking the chain, putting that link in both boxes, and also telling it open it in a new tab. And let's just see what that link looks like compared to viewing it as a spreadsheet. So I can save that after putting both links in there.
How do you do the web page?
Under the web page, you go to File, Publish, or File, Share, Publish. This is where you find the publish it as a web page. Publish it as a web page. You click that, you say yes, publish, and it'll give you this link. And if you went to that link, here's what it looks like. It looks a little different format if it's published as a web page. Taking a while for it to think, because I just published it. It's taking a while to find the page. Thinking, here it comes. Here's what it'll look like to someone if you just give them the web page. It'll have the tabs at the top this time. There's the data, there's the chart. They can't edit it. They could copy paste the data, but it's, I'd say, a little cleaner looking if you publish it as a web page. It doesn't have that menu across the top. Or if you share it as a Google Doc, they'll always see this menu across the top, and they can decide whether they want to make a copy of all your data. So publish it in two ways, and then in your submission, it should look something like this. You have the Google Doc spreadsheet shared to everyone on the internet, your web page shared link, and then you are done with this assignment. You have shared it in multiple ways, and it's available to your instructor to verify you have done the work in the cloud. Now you are cloud experts. And once you have that posted, there is an assignment, another assignment down, and we just have one more spreadsheet assignment before we get into databases.